Welcome, viewers, to Body Unified Flow. Here we simplify complexity and amplify performance. I am your host, and today we're diving straight into one of the most transformative elements in modern construction management. We're looking at the Last Planner System Foundations, specifically focusing on Part 4, Level 2, Phase Pull Planning. This is known as the should level, where we literally work backward from our milestones. If you're involved in delivering complex projects, understanding this specific phase is an absolute game changer. It's going to fundamentally shift how you look at project schedules. Here is our roadmap for today's session. 1. Introduction and learning objectives. 2. Positioning LPS, Level 2. 3. Working backward from milestones. 4. The give and get protocol. 5. Waste reduction and flow. And finally, 6. Summary and references. Section 1. Introduction and learning objectives. Setting the stage for phase pull planning. So what are we actually going to get out of this explainer today? Well, by the end of our time together, you're going to walk away with 3 very practical takeaways. First, you'll deeply understand the should level within the LPS hierarchy and what it truly means for your project strategy. Second, you'll master the concept of reverse phase scheduling, which is essentially planning from the milestone backward. And third, you'll learn the practical, collaborative I give, I get handoff protocol that really makes this entire system function in the real world. Let's make sure we're all on the same page with a clear definition. Phase pull planning is a collaborative scheduling technique. It happens when the project team is getting ready to transition into a new milestone phase. Basically, we're moving from a broad, high-level strategic master plan down to a much more detailed phase-specific level. But what's absolutely crucial here is that the last planners, meaning the actual experts and trades doing the work on the ground, collaboratively design the specific sequence of handoffs required to hit that target milestone. It's not top-down guessing, it's completely team-driven. Section 2. Positioning LPS Level 2. Where exactly does it fit? You know how the Last Planner system operationalizes pull production, right? It does it by progressively transforming work through a 5-tier logic. It starts at the top with master scheduling, which defines what should be done globally. Next is our focus for today, phase pull planning, defining the logical sequence of what should be done. From there, it moves into look-ahead planning to remove constraints, which is what can be done. Then we hit weekly work planning for direct commitments, what will be done. And finally, learning, where we measure what we actually did. So Level 2 acts as this incredibly vital bridge. Think about it. The master schedule gives us our long-term project boundaries and our key contractual phases, right? But the phase pull plan takes those high-level targets and through collaborative planning starts the process of converting what should be done into a strictly logical sequence. It literally sets the stage for creating a sequenced, ready-to-work inventory, and from that inventory, our weekly work plans can eventually be produced. Section 3. Working backward from milestones. The core mechanic. All right, this brings us to reverse phase scheduling, or what a lot of us just call the backward pass. A pull technique is entirely based on working from a target completion date backward. Instead of starting at day 1 and just guessing how long things will take to push toward the end, the team identifies the final milestone and asks one simple question. What is the absolute last activity that must be completed to achieve this? For example, if the milestone is paint complete, the absolute last activity is the painting itself. We then pull backward to the drywall and backward again to the in-wall electrical. The respective first possible start date for those activities on the critical path gives us our available time. This brilliantly illustrates a necessary paradigm shift in our industry. Think about traditional push scheduling for a second. It's essentially top-down guessing. It starts at the beginning, pushes work forward, and blindly assumes that flow will just happen. We all know how that usually turns out. On the flip side, phase pull planning is built on collaborative commitment. It starts at the milestone and works backward. Because you're only pulling the preceding activities required to release the next trade, you are actively designing and, quite frankly, guaranteeing the flow of work. Let's walk through the actual mechanics of this backward pass step by step. Step 1, you identify the target milestone from the master schedule. Step 2, identify the final activity required to reach that specific milestone. Step 3, identify the preceding activity required to release that final activity. Step 4, just repeat this pull process until the start date is reached. It's like a giant puzzle, but by mapping the necessary order and duration backward from the last date of completion, the team clearly identifies the critical path and the exact available time. Section 4. The Give and Get Protocol. Designing the handoff. Now, this entire pull technique relies completely on the logic that an activity should only start when the downstream customer requests. This relationship is governed by what we call the I get, I give protocol. Picture a last planner, say the drywall foreman. They discuss exactly what they need to receive from a preceding trade, like the electrician, before they can even start their work. That's the I get. In return, they clearly state what they promise to deliver to the next performer in the sequence, perhaps the painter. That is the I give. When you stack these together, it creates an unbreakable chain of reliable promises.
And the physical reality of this? It's highly engaging. Leading lean researchers always point out a critical principle here. Tasks must be planned in the presence of the people who actually have to execute them. Last planners physically embody this I get, I give concept. They use color-coded cards or sticky notes, mapping it all out collaboratively on a flat timeline right there on a wall. They discuss, they negotiate, and they write down their commitments together. This physical act formalizes the planning and builds the logic network as a united team.
Section 5. Waste reduction and flow. The real why behind the process.
There is a very powerful foundational rule from lean researchers Ballard and Howell, and it goes like this. A rule of pulling is to only do work that releases work requested by someone else. Let that sink in for a moment. This is the golden rule of level 2 planning. If an activity does not directly release work for the next trade in the sequence, it shouldn't be happening yet. Following this rule forces a highly disciplined, streamlined workflow of operations on site.
And this brings us to a massive benefit, eliminating overproduction. By strictly following the rule of pulling and working backward from a target completion date, we eliminate all that work that has customarily been done just to keep people busy, but doesn't actually add value at that exact moment. Overproduction is recognized as one of Taiichi Ohno's 7 types of waste. So by pulling, we drastically reduce variability, we improve our reliability, and we systematically design out the waste of overproduction. It's brilliant. Section 6. Summary and references. Wrapping up today's session. Let's quickly recap our key takeaways to make sure we hit those learning objectives. First, we saw that phase pull planning is the essential bridge between high-level master scheduling and detailed look-ahead planning. Second, using the backward pass, or reverse scheduling, is exactly how we secure a logical, guaranteed flow of work. Third, the physical I get, I give protocol builds a tight social network of reliable promises among the trades. And finally, adhering to pull principles actively eliminates the critical waste of overproduction. Before we go, I want to leave you with this provocative thought as you look at your own projects. Are you ready to stop pushing schedules top-down and start pulling collaborative commitments? The tools are all right here. The framework is proven. It is time to empower the last planners on your site to design their own reliable workflow. Finally, the insights shared in this explainer are grounded in decades of rigorous lean construction research. We acknowledge the foundational work of Glenn Ballard, Greg Howell, Tariq Hamza, and the other key researchers whose studies on production control and pull planning made this methodology possible. Thank you so much for joining me on Bodhi Unified Flow. Until next time, keep simplifying complexity and amplifying performance.